In the NFL, the life of a corner is often one that is very stressful and often has ups and downs aplenty. Well, for the Detroit Lions, they just got some advice about benching one of their starting corners, and we're going to talk about it in this episode, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lion.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, my Lions friends, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. My friends, I know this has been quite a media blitz day for me because this is now my third episode being released, and that's provided if nothing else comes up, but there's been a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is yet another thing that we need to talk about. And the reason I'm talking about it is because let's understand something. When it comes to the NFL, most people, when they start talking about the hardest positions to learn or to play, typically what you're going to find is there's usually three positions that are usually at the top of that list of what are considered the most difficult. And that's usually quarterback, tight end, and cornerback. Now, obviously, the Lions don't really have any concerns with the first two, quarterback or tight end. Jared Goff is a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback. Sam Laporta, easily top 5 tight end, one of the best in the NFL. Now, cornerback, on the other hand, that's a little bit of a different story. Now, obviously, we have Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis is a pretty solid cornerback. Not too really worried about him. But after Carlton Davis, now we start running into a little bit of a different conversation, which is where this conversation particularly starts. Yesterday, there was an article that was pushed out by A to Z Sports, which is a article. It's a sports kind of group that is run by Mike Payton. And I've read a lot of Mike Payton's work. I actually like his work quite a bit. But when I saw this article, I have to say, I actually kind of disagreed with him, and I kind of disagreed with him very strongly. And that's what I'm going to do with this episode, because Mike Payton, I don't necessarily say that he outright said it, but the suggestion that I got from the article was that he pretty much wants to have the Lions bench cornerback Terrion Arnold. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. Has Terrion Arnold played the best football over the last 3 games? No, he has not. The guy's got 5 defensive pass interference calls. The guy has literally had a very rough go of it over the last, I would say, 2.5 games. So I can understand to a certain aspect where Mike Payton is coming from with the suggestion of benching Terrion Arnold, because I understand that when it comes to cornerbacks, there is a very hard and very steep learning curve, because most cornerbacks take a couple of years before they really fully catch on. That's why I said Sauce Gardner is an anomaly, and you can try and find another Sauce Gardner all you want in the draft, but chances are you ain't gonna find them because they are rare. So I already knew coming into this that Terrion Arnold was going to have growing pains like any other rookie. It's just a part of the process. Now, did I honestly expect all the penalties? No, I didn't. But you have to kind of take that with the territory. Think about who Terrion Arnold has had to play against over, the last 3 weeks. Oh, that's right. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, even though Nacua was only in for half a game. Then the next week had to go up against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And then this last week, that's right, we had Marvin Harrison Jr., the best wide receiver in the entire draft. So it's not like Terrion Arnold has not had to go against some pretty damn good wide receivers. He has. So keep that in mind before you start crucifying the young man. Now, I know there are some people out there that are instantaneously have already jumped to this conclusion or are already starting to think this or have already started saying this. Is Terrion Arnold going to be another Jeff Okudah? And I'm going to tell you to put a big timeout on that one. First and foremost here, let's understand the main difference between Terrion Arnold and Jeff Okudah. First and foremost, Jeff Okudah could not and would not be able to stay on the field. When he was here with the Lions, I distinctly remember several times where he was out for very long periods of time. And even when he had minor injuries, it didn't seem like he could fight through them. Like, I'm not trying to insult anybody's toughness, but it seemed like he wasn't as physically tough as he should have been. Because even when he had minor injuries, it didn't seem like he could play through them as well. Well, let's take a look at Terrion Arnold. Played through a knee injury yesterday. Played through a finger injury the week before that. I mean, Terrion Arnold has already proven that he's not averse to playing through pain. So already, that's a difference between him and Jeff Okudah, number one. Number two, we cannot even start talking about the comparison of Jeff Okudah and Terrion Arnold because, oh, that's right, who was the GM and head coach when Jeff Okudah got drafted? Oh, that's right, Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. I am not going to have any conversation start with Terrion Arnold and Jeff Okudah when those two clowns are in the conversation in comparison to Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. That's not even in the same damn stratosphere, let alone the same, ballpark. It's not even possible to have a conversation. Furthermore, even if you wanted to force that conversation, take a look at where the two were drafted. Jeff Okudah was drafted 3rd overall. That's a top 3 draft pick, folks. When you draft someone that high, yeah, you are expecting them not only to come in and start, but to play very well. That's the expectation for a top 3 draft pick. Terrion Arnold was drafted at pick number 24. There is a vast difference of expectation between those picks. Yes, it's still a first-round pick, don't get me wrong. But a number 24 overall pick does not have the same expectations as a number 3 overall pick. That's just the way it be. So there's that. But then, let me bring up this last piece of information here. If we go back and we think about Jeff Okudah here, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall ever Jeff Okudah really having a good game. He might have had okay games here or there, but I don't ever really remember him having a really good game. Let's think about Terrion Arnold here for a minute. Everybody wants to talk about the penalties. Everybody wants to talk about how he's been shredded over the last couple of weeks. Okay here, folks. Let's realistically take a look at this last game against the Cardinals. Outside of that one DPI call that he had on Marvin Harrison Jr., I can't really think of another play where Terrion Arnold got really all that beat. And that was, again, while dealing with a knee injury. He was able to stay on Marvin Harrison Jr. pretty much throughout the rest of the game, and Marvin Harrison Jr. pretty much wasn't able to get out of anything, massive. He might have had a couple of plays here or there, but Marvin Harrison never really burned us. Now, is that all Terrion Arnold's doing? No. Obviously, he had some great pass rush and the fact that Kyler Murray can't seem to figure out how to throw a ball to save his life. But that's my whole point. Apart from that one mistake yesterday with the DPI, Terrion Arnold played a pretty damn good game in a hostile environment against Marvin Harrison Jr. and with a slightly bum knee. I mean, you got to give the kid credit. If you're going to blame him as high as you have over the last 2 games, you got to give him credit for what he did Sunday against the freaking Cardinals. You can't take that away from him. So, that right there is part of this conversation that I'm already saying I don't agree with Mike Payton on. The second thing I don't agree with Mike Payton on is that, okay, he's only played 3 games, folks. You can't start doing that to a young rookie. Because if you do that, you're going to start playing mind games with them, and you're going to start altering their confidence. Terrion Arnold won the starting job for a reason. And I guarantee you this, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Aaron Glenn, and all the rest of them knew this. Hey, he's a rookie. He's going to get burned. We're going to have growing pains with him. We knew that going into this. We're not going to pull you all of a sudden just because things get a little rough. Because I guarantee you that conversation was had at some point. If you all of a sudden now bench Terry and Arnold after that whole conversation was had, or the expectation of that conversation was had, now you're going to have a really big problem on your hands. Because now Terry and Arnold's going to be thinking in the back of his head, well, wait a minute here. I won the job, and now it's not even been 3 weeks into the season, and I'm already getting benched. And it's like, that's not fair to him. Again, perfect example I can think about this. Go back to the Giants in like mid-2000s when Kurt Warner was there, and they had drafted Eli Manning. Remember what Kurt Warner said? He's like, listen, if you bench me and you put the rookie in, do not come back to me. Let the rookie learn. And go back to that season. Eli Manning was horrible that year. But Kurt Warner had the right mindset. Even if the rookie is struggling, let him learn. Do not pull him out. Do not start making him double think himself or lose confidence. He's going to have to learn. He's going to have to get the experience. That's what this is. And again, experience is the best teacher, but it's also the harshest. That's what's going on with Terry and Arnold. Yeah, he's getting burned. He's having issues. But you know what? I guarantee you he's getting better for it because he's learning, okay, I can't do this. I can't do that. I have to adjust how I do my coverage. I have to adjust how I'm grabbing, how I'm doing this, how I'm doing that. That's all stuff that comes with the territory of a rookie. You're learning. And I understand that might be frustrating for fans, but let me just remind you all something here. I seem to recall, I don't know, about a decade ago, we drafted a cornerback, second round, and very first year we had him, didn't look good at all. Absolutely looked atrocious. But yet, he stuck with it, and over the years, that cornerback turned into one of the best cornerbacks in the league and actually developed into a name around the NFL. If y'all don't know who I'm talking about Darius Big Play Slay. Darius Slay, the very first year we had him, was not good. He looked horrible. But now look at what's happened. He's considered one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Got himself a nickname to go along with the name. So it's like, hey, some cornerbacks, yeah, they're going to take their lumps early. But the really good ones are the ones that learn from it, adapt, and grow. And that's what I see in Terry and Arnold. He's not just confident for a reason. He's confident in himself. Not arrogant, he's confident, and he learns. He's humble enough to say, hey, I don't know everything, I'm going to continue to learn, but I still have that confidence in myself that, hey, I can go out on the field and I can play professional football at a high level. That's what you want in a cornerback, because I'm going to say this right now. I don't care what cornerback you call out. You can talk about Deion Sanders, Sauce Gardner, or any other one. Every single cornerback that has ever played this game has gotten burned, gotten beat at some point. It happens. So you know what? I would much rather Terry and Arnold get his burnings, quote unquote, out of the way now. I would much rather him learn from his mistakes now, so that way going into the future, he's better off for it. And pulling him and benching him so that way you can refine his technique is not going to work. If anything, that will do more harm than it will good. Keep the rookie in there. Let him continue to learn. Let him continue to grow. Do not make a change of direction. Do not alter course. Stay the course and let's continue on. Let Terry and Arnold continue to grow and develop by playing the game. So, having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage y'all, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can. So that way we can maximize the reach and the spread of the channel, so that way we can bring in new viewership. And whether you've been a long-time viewer or this was your first time, viewing the content, I hope you all enjoyed the content. Furthermore, I hope you all have something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.